Hey guys, this is Pedro back with another interview, this time covering VCT Masters Toronto 2025. My guest at this time is Chronicle, a FNATIC coming off of their match against Gen.G, in which they came out on the losing end to thus go down to the lower bracket in set competition and in set stage. And so, Chronicle, thank you so much for the opportunity for the quick interview. And of course, this is coming off of a loss, so I'm pretty sure you guys are not feeling the best of times right now, but still, I want to ask you the obvious introductory question. What's going through your mind? How are you feeling? How was the match from your point of view?
Frustrating because I feel like on the first map, obviously we could easily win, but because of the tech issue that was happening with the gear, not from my side though, um, we literally kind of lost some of the crucial rounds that could be easily won if, like, for example, people will hear me or something like that. I mean, it's just like I can't go really exactly in details, but there was a big issue, and I believe it affected the outcome. On the second map, obviously, it's also like another tech, but now it's like purely something happened in the on the venue, and like we didn't have like a broadcast, I guess, as I understand, for our match towards the end of the first half, and we had to wait for an hour to like fix the issue to solve it, and also kind of affected maybe like in our favor, but like I can't really tell. Like we could easily do a comeback maybe like without it, but we also could. I mean, it's just hard to predict. Like I don't know like what happened, but we won the second map, and I'm kind of happy with that. But we also had a lot of problems there. And the third map, I mean, I'm not gonna talk about it. It's just like he played it bad, I think.
No, yeah, definitely plenty of obstacles that both teams faced in this matchup, and I'm gonna go into map two and obviously like talking about the tech boss and like how that experience was for yourself and the rest of the Fnatic squad. I mean, people kind of looked at how that happened, and the subsequent victory of the series as like, oh, Fnatic took this as an advantage to like uh get reset mentally and then win this and move on to map three. But for me, I want to ask you, sort of like your point of view, like what was the team kind of like talking about in order to like kind of reset mentally that could then help you guys, close out the series in overtime and do that comeback.
Honestly, I mean, it's hard to say for now because like I still have some thoughts why it happened, like how it happened, and we obviously just try to cheer up ourselves like a lot because obviously ending the defense side on split 4-8, I think it was 4-8, not really great, and like obviously we could do better, and we know it. And suddenly, after like returning to the stage, we actually felt like we can have a game in our hand, and yeah, suddenly it happened like that. So I just can't really provide that much because obviously some like the talks are kind of internal, and like I can't just like share everything because some of the stuff is personal. So yeah.
Oh, for sure, definitely understand that, and like obviously, like going on to map three. I mean, you kind of like said it right then and there, like just sort of like everything kind of felt wrong, right, for the team, right? Because like I believe this is the first time you guys played that map in this entire season, and so there maybe there might have been some issues just trying to get used to the map, or maybe not. I just want to ask you for your elaboration onto like what went down in Sunset. If there's kind of one thing that you kind of look at and say, okay, this is what happened wrong the most, what would that one thing be?
We just literally lost to unequal rounds when we shouldn't. Like, and like it's not like they were forcing against us; they were just playing with pistols, and we still lost. I think that's one of the biggest issues. Like, it shouldn't be like that. We just let them have like easy rounds because of it, and like our team play exactly at that point was like at the weakest level, I would say, and we did a lot of mistakes in these rounds. In some buy rounds, obviously on attacks that we had a pretty bad adaptation, like to the way how they play them up. And on defense, obviously we didn't really play together as well a lot when it needed, and that went to losing some crucial clutches, like or like advantage situations where we had them. So yeah.
Going back into Split, I want to ask you about like facing off against Gen.G's Tejo, and that was the first time in which we saw like that Asian being played in an international setting since Bangkok, and in Bangkok, as we all know, that Asian was very prevalent in that competition. Much more of a reverse this time around. Save for what went down in the tech pause and like going into like the beginning stages of it. Were you guys kind of surprised that Gen.G opted for the Tejo pick, and what did you kind of see in their game and how they played the comp that kind of made it difficult to counter at the beginning?
Yeah, I mean, we were pretty surprised that they didn't change the comp because of Tejo. Like the last time they played Split, it was on their stage one, and basically they had a lot of time to change the comp, but they didn't. And maybe like they have huge balls for that, respect. But at the same time, I don't think it was a great comp. We just did a lot of bad stuff throughout the defense side that like literally made the game look much better than it was like for them. Because like when we just can't stop their straight execs for like multiple rounds without any reason why, like it's just strange. And obviously we showed an attack that like Tejo is actually started to be really weak. They can't reclear the spots properly. The rocket management became like insanely impossible to do. Like from my perspective, as I see it, like it's just like impossible to play. Like I just saw him trying to reclear A with his rockets, and after that he just had no opportunities. Like he used the rockets, like he didn't like land them properly. Not like land them properly. Just like he used it in the wrong space, for example, or like in the space where we're already not there. And that's usually like after that he's useless. He only have drone which he uses like at the start of the run because they need to somehow get the info about me lurking or not. And that's it. Like they just have to face me. Like 2 people on A at least. And that's very bad.
No, for sure. I mean, definitely, we'll be looking at using this for reflection for the next match. I believe, which is going to be against RRQ. But well, I want to pivot towards another direction, not really focusing on the future, but more so sort of like what's been going on right now. And question was already asked in the press conference about like all the first seeded teams in playoffs losing their first match, and so as a result, they all go down to the lower bracket. I believe the question was asked to both as to why. I want to ask you though, Chronicle, for your perspective and your point of view as to like, what do you feel makes it so difficult for like your team and those other first seeds that makes it difficult to start off on the right foot in this competition?
I mean, for us in Europe, obviously there's multiple reasons for that. Like each team is kind of individual. Liquid, they lost their IGL for the first match, and like it's already like a hard start. And after that, they had to face pretty strong teams, I would say. Yeah, I think like playing obviously against PaperX is not an easy task, especially when they feel it. And obviously it was hard. For Team FNATIC, I mean, they just kind of got pumped out, but I think it was like something that really internal. I don't think it was necessary because of like some of the issues I will tell in like very soon. But for us, obviously, like for it's just like hard to say. Like obviously, when you think about the big disadvantage for us is like that we finished qualifying to Toronto later than every single region. So our preparation was pretty weak compared to any other team. Even for us, even though like we had an advantage of like staying in playoffs, like we had a first seed, we had some time to play some prags. It's still not the same as actually playing matches, as Boster said in the press conference. The matches give you a huge boost in terms of like how you need to play the game. You became more confident. You became like more used to it, and yeah, you just like you already know like compared to the teams that are coming like only to play only from playoffs. Like you know what to expect and you know how to deal with it, and we obviously don't. And like we were pretty surprised that okay, it's another stage that is pretty hot. Like for example, it's another stage like that is like pretty uncomfortable to play. Like also we had some tech issues. But coming to Europe again, sorry, I didn't finish it and I just went somewhere wrong. But yeah, I mean, when you have like 2 weeks compared to every single region, 2 weeks less is just hard to prepare for us and for other playoff teams. I'll just continue on this one now. It's also hard because like yeah, we can just like play 10,000 pracs, but it's not the same as playing officials, and that's also kind of fucked up. Like I would rather play from group stage if I will be honest. Like it's just much better and maybe more fun. Like it's like hard to explain, but like it is what it is. I feel like if you also look at the other esports, I'm not gonna talk about them, but if you want to look about it, you can just easily find a way about this shit. Like I see some teams are consistently getting upset, like the teams that play later in some like more later stages, for example, in some tournaments. So yeah, I mean, like we definitely can look into it. Or Riot can look into it, like maybe change the format of the Masters at least, because you don't really have something like that in any other tournament. So yeah.
Oh, for sure. I definitely appreciate your insight on this whole aspect of the tournament, and hopefully this team can bounce back and move on and go further into this tournament starting from tomorrow. So, Chronicle, thank you so much for the opportunity, for the interview, for the answers, and best of luck for tomorrow.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you.